If you've been told that fixing sagging skin requires an expensive cream, a device, or a procedure, I want to walk you through what the actual research says, because the honest picture is more interesting and more hopeful than most marketing suggests. I'm Dr. Eric Berg, and Human Health Zone exists to look closely at real published research on health and aging, the kind of research that often gets buried under marketing claims. Today we're going through 7 habits that take only a few minutes, each connected to real research on skin and facial aging. I want to be upfront with you. Some of these have strong evidence behind them. Some have promising but limited evidence. And a couple are simply low risk and biologically reasonable without strong proof either way. I'll tell you honestly which is which, because you deserve real information, not exaggerated claims. Before we start, quick favor. If you found value in videos like this, take a moment to make sure you're subscribed. It helps this channel keep producing research-based content instead of hype. And tell me in the comments where you notice sagging the most, your jawline, your cheeks, or under your eyes. It helps me know what to cover next. Let's start with a habit that actually has the strongest clinical evidence behind it of everything we'll cover today. Facial exercise. As we age, the muscles underneath our skin, just like the muscles in our arms and legs, can lose tone if they're not used. Since facial muscles directly support the skin and fat layers above them, weaker muscle can mean less structural support underneath the skin. Researchers at Northwestern University's Berg School of Medicine tested this directly in a clinical trial published in the journal JAMA Dermatology. Middle-aged women performed a guided facial exercise program, starting with daily sessions and tapering every other day over 20 weeks. By the end of the study, the women showed measurably fuller upper and lower cheeks, and independent observers rated their faces as looking about 3 years younger on average. I want to be clear about the limits here. This was a small pilot study, 16 to 27 participants depending on the measure, and it wasn't blinded, so it's not the kind of large, airtight trial we'd want for a strong medical recommendation. But it is real, published, peer-reviewed evidence that consistent facial exercise can measurably change facial appearance over months, not days. A simple version you can try: press 2 fingers firmly against your cheekbones. Smile widely while pushing your cheek muscles upward against that resistance, and hold for a few seconds before releasing. Repeat a handful of times. Consistency over months, not a single session, is what the research actually supports. Quick reminder here in the middle of the video. Everything we're discussing is general educational information, not personalized medical advice. It isn't a substitute for seeing a licensed dermatologist or physician, especially if you're considering a cosmetic procedure or if your skin changes are sudden, painful, or come with other symptoms, which should always be evaluated in person. Next, let's talk about gua sha, which is genuinely interesting but more limited evidence than it's often given credit for online. A study using laser Doppler imaging found that gua sha treatment produced roughly a 4-fold temporary increase in local blood flow at the treated area, lasting around 25 minutes. That's real and measurable. But here's the honest part that often gets left out. That study was done on the back, not the face, in just 11 people. When researchers more recently compared facial gua sha directly to a simple jade facial roller in a small randomized trial, both tools produced small improvements in facial contour measurements, but gua sha did not produce a statistically significant improvement in skin elasticity, while the roller group did. So the most honest summary is this: gua sha very likely does increase short-term blood flow to your skin, which may explain the temporary glow many people notice, but the evidence that it meaningfully firms skin over time is thin and mixed. If you enjoy the ritual of it, it's low risk and pleasant. Just don't expect it to replace stronger interventions. If you try it, use a smooth edge tool, apply a little facial oil so it glides without dragging the skin, and always use light pressure moving upward and outward, never pressing hard enough to bruise. A third area worth understanding is simply sun protection, which doesn't get the spotlight in most anti-aging hack videos, but is by far the strongest and most consistent evidence of anything affecting how skin ages. The vast majority of visible facial aging, including loss of firmness and collagen breakdown, is driven by cumulative ultraviolet exposure over a lifetime, not the natural passage of time alone. Daily broad-spectrum sunscreen, even on cloudy days and even later in life, is one of the few interventions with decades of consistent research behind it for preserving skin structure. This is an exciting new habit, but it's the most evidence-backed thing in this entire video. So it deserves to be said plainly. Genital facial massage in general, separate from any specific branded technique, has some support for temporarily improving skin blood flow and may support lymphatic drainage, which can reduce the appearance of puffiness. The evidence here is more limited, and the effects appear to be short-term rather than producing lasting structural change. But the practice is low risk for most people. A simple version, using clean hands or a smooth tool, apply gentle upward strokes from the center of your face outward and downward toward your neck and collarbone, following the natural direction lymphatic fluid drains, for a minute or two. Hydration and barrier-supporting moisturizers, while not as dramatic a topic as a hidden hack, genuinely matter for how skin looks day to day. Well-hydrated skin reflects light more evenly and can appear smoother and more supple. Even though hydration alone doesn't rebuild collagen structure the way some marketing implies. A fragrance-free moisturizer with ingredients like hyaluronic acid or ceramides, used consistently, is a reasonable, low-risk daily habit. For those interested in ingredients with more substantial research behind them for firmness and collagen, topical retinoids are the most studied over-the-counter and prescription option, with decades of trials showing measurable improvement in fine lines and skin texture over months of consistent use. They can cause irritation, especially in sensitive or thinning older skin, so starting slowly and ideally discussing this with a dermatologist is worth it before committing to a routine. Finally, general cardiovascular exercise, the kind that's good for your whole body, also appears to support skin health indirectly by improving circulation throughout the body, including to the skin. It's not a quick fix and it's not specific to the face, but it's one of the few habits with research connecting it to better skin quality as a side effect of overall health, alongside everything else exercise does for you. So here's an honest summary. The strongest evidence in this video is for consistent facial exercise over months and daily sun protection. Gua sha and general facial massage have some real, but more limited and short-term evidence. And they're low risk if you enjoy them. Hydration, retinoids, and general exercise all have reasonable evidence too, just operating on different timelines. None of this is a substitute for talking with a dermatologist about your specific skin, especially if you're noticing rapid changes or considering a procedure. If this helped clarify what's actually backed by research versus what's marketing, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to Human Health Zone. It helps us keep making content that takes the evidence seriously instead of chasing hype. If this was useful, share it with someone who might appreciate a clearer picture of what really works. And let us know in the comments, which city or country are you watching from? We'll see you in the next one.